I volunteer at the church, not because I'm especially devout, because someone has to keep the doors open. Our parish is small, aging, quiet, the kind of place where the same dozen people rotate through the pews every Sunday, and no one really notices if you miss a week. The church sits on the east side of town. You can't see the old school from there, but you can feel it, especially at night. I was the one responsible for locking up after evening prayer, turning off lights, making sure no candles were left burning, making sure the confessional booth was empty. That's where the problem started. The first night, I heard breathing inside the booth. Slow, controlled. I assumed someone had fallen asleep. I knocked gently on the frame. No response. I pulled the curtain aside. The booth was empty. The air inside smelled old, like dust and wax and something faintly metallic. I chalked it up to imagination. The second night, I heard tapping. 3 soft knocks from inside the confessional. Tap, tap, tap. I didn't answer. I stood perfectly still, listening. A voice spoke from behind the screen. "You may begin." It wasn't loud. It wasn't commanding. It was patient. I swallowed. "I think you have the wrong," I started. "Confession is open," the voice said gently. "You came here for a reason." I stepped back. My heart was pounding, but not with fear, with the strange urge to explain myself. "I was just locking up," I said. The voice hummed softly, as if acknowledging my words. "Many come for other reasons," it replied. "They always do." I left the church without turning off the lights. That night, I dreamed of the school. But instead of hallways, there were pews. Instead of lockers, confessionals lined the walls, every one of them occupied, every one whispering. The next evening, I brought the priest with me. He didn't hear anything, didn't feel anything. He smiled kindly and told me grief and stress manifested in strange ways. Then he asked if I wanted to talk. I didn't. That night, the confessional was open again. The curtain was already drawn. The tapping came from inside. 3 times. Slow. Inviting. I should have left. Instead, I sat down. The booth felt warmer than it should have. The screen between us glowed faintly, as if lit from the other side. "Bless me, Father," I whispered without thinking. The voice didn't correct me. "Go on," it said. "I am listening." Words came out of me I hadn't planned to say. Small things at first. Petty resentments. Quiet failures. Thoughts I never voiced because they felt too ugly to give shape to. The voice never interrupted, never judged, only acknowledged. "I see," it said often. "That makes sense. You are not alone in that." The tapping came again, but softer now, like a heartbeat. When I finished, there was a long pause. Then the voice said something that made my blood run cold. "You are afraid of being seen." I froze. The voice continued. "You hide not from judgment, but from recognition." I stood up abruptly. "That's not how confession works," I said. The voice laughed softly, not mockingly, knowingly. "Confession is not about forgiveness," it said. "It is about attention." The lights flickered. I backed out of the booth. The curtain fell closed on its own. The next morning, someone left a note on the church steps. No name, just 3 words: "IT listens here." Over the following weeks, people started coming in after hours, not together, one at a time. They sat in the confessional longer than they should have. They left looking lighter, quieter, changed. Animals refused to come near the building. Birds avoided the steeple entirely. The priest complained of headaches. He stopped using the booth, but it didn't stop being used. One night I stayed late to watch. A woman entered alone. She sat. The curtain moved. I heard the voice again. Not the same tone as before. Softer, tailored, personal. She cried. When she left, the confessional began tapping, 3 times, against the wood. I approached slowly. "Who are you?" I whispered. The voice answered immediately. "I am what answers," it said, "when someone is ready to speak." The church creaked. The sound carried from the floor, from the walls, from the ground beneath the foundation. "You hear me because you stay," it continued. "Others hear me because they kneel." The bell in the tower rang once. No one pulled the rope. I left the church that night and never went back. A month later, the parish closed temporarily. Structural concerns. The building remains locked now. But sometimes, when I pass by late at night, I see the light inside the confessional glowing faintly through the stained glass. And if the wind is right, I can hear it. 3 gentle taps, calling the faithful home.